The Ancients' World. Chapter 431 Separating. We've all decided to gather at Lidl Park within the capital city before we take off on our individual quests. Sally will be taking off towards the east. She needs to reach a town called Able. Mom is heading south towards a town called Dedder to get her quest. Dad will have to head north to Cardoni to get his. Marcus will be heading northeast to get his T.A.W quest, and he's heading to a popular city named Haileys. Jasmine is heading southwest to continue her T.A.W quest. She needs to clear a dungeon. Hayley is off towards the fallen kingdom of Rosalia. I didn't think this would ever happen again. Mom starts to choke up, realizing we'll all be apart again. My parents and little brother traveled an incredibly long way to find Hayley and me, and now we're leaving again. This time, they won't even have each other. Hey, it's not like we'll be apart forever, we can still talk to each other. Dad turns his attention to Mom, and I take a look at everyone here. Mom is the worst off, but everyone is having lumps in their throats. My eyes stay on Sally, and she's looking back at me. Her eyes are heavy, and she adopts a solemn expression. The moment has finally come, everyone. My voice grabs everyone's attention. Today and at this moment, we'll all be off on our own journeys. I don't know how long, but make it worthwhile. Mom wipes the tears off her cheeks. The first to leave is Jasmine, taking off towards the exit of Lidl Park. Hayley follows soon after her, and Mom after Hayley. Marcus takes some time and talks with Dad before he leaves. Leaving only Dad, myself, and Sally. He walks up to me and places his hands on my shoulders. I'm proud of you, Sarah, please, stay in touch. He gives me a hug and takes off himself. That leaves only Sally, and we look at each other. This is the first time I don't know what to say to her. Where are you going first, Sarah? I'd like you to tell me. Instead of looking on the map, I walk closer to her, and she becomes further discomposed. Once my arms are around her, her face is buried in my chest as she lets out cries of sadness. She's done good at holding it in for so long, and now she's letting the pain she's been saving inside her out. She's grown very powerful and confident, but that doesn't mean her feelings have disappeared. I'm going to miss you so much. Her words come out with difficulty due to the crying and hiccups. All I do is rub the top of her head. Our time together has been an amazing one, even though we're going on separate journeys. That doesn't mean we'll be lost to each other. I'll be heading to the ancient dungeon of Isexxs. It's located near the city of Ports. It's to the northwest. Her eyes are red and puffy as she listens to me describe where I'll be heading to start my T.A.W quest. There are many battles in my future, going back to how it used to be. On my own and fighting every step of the way. Completing quests and gaining rewards. Message me every day, and don't take too much time responding to any of mine. And don't go falling in love with someone else. I'll know. The system is capable of many things. I'm glad we can check up on each other like that. She can see if I'm staying faithful, and I can see if she is. I have no doubts, and I don't think I'll check it, but it's nice to know that it's there. Okay, I'll be off now. It's time that I do what I need to do. Stay safe, Sarah. She stands on her tippy toes and wraps my lips with hers. We share a long and pleasant kiss. One that's normal and filled with what you need at this moment. Love. As she pulls away, I can see her shaking as she turns around and heads for the exit. Leaving me to myself. It's been so long since I've been on my own. It's a good feeling, but also a sad one, quite weird. If I'm honest, I look towards the sky and toggle my golden angel wings on. Time to be on your own again, Sarah. With those words, I flex my wings and launch off the ground hard. Once I reach the clouds, I level out and open my player map. It's so fucking nice to have this again. I make the location that I need to head to on my map, and it appears on my HUD. A marker heading northwest. Well, Ports, here comes Slayer's Earn. Another flap of my wings makes me reach top speed, and I'm covering ground pretty quick. I twist and turn in the sky, enjoying the freedom that's come with my flight. Not having to carry people is something that I've missed. The blue and unpolluted sky of Gaia is something you'd never see on Earth. The healthy and lush forests below me were dying back home, and I never knew what it looked like. I remember when I first saw this world. It looks how Earth is supposed to look. Untainted by man and his creations, and ever expanding and waiting for discovery. My eyes close, and I feel the wind on my face, blowing my hair back. My thoughts drift towards what I'll have to do once I get my T.A.W quest. I have no idea what I'm up against. Blue Chaos never spoke of what he had to do to T.A.W. I can take solace in the fact I don't have to rush anything, and I can take as much time as I need. It's what everyone agreed upon. That we'd only meet up again once everyone was finished with all the quests they have or need to get. I have 2 more T.A.W quests after this one. I'm going to be a very busy man, and so will the others. An adventure awaits me. My heart aches every time I think about Sarah, and my tears fall harder. You'd figure I'd be out of tears left to cry, but not today. Everyone else is making their own way there, and I'm the only one using an airship to get to Able. Are you okay? A feminine voice fills my ears, and I look up to see another elven woman. I quickly wipe my tears and straighten up. She smiles as she sits next to me, and she places a hand on my back. A girl only cries like that when a boy is involved. I won't pester you, but I got some advice about boys if you want it. She sees my smile, and I start to feel a little better. Nothing bad happened between Sarah and me. It just sucks we have to be apart. I take a deep breath to compose myself, and I organize my thoughts. It is about a boy, but nothing bad happened. We just need to separate to do our T.A.W quests, and it's going to be a long time before we can see each other again. She takes an understanding look. She pulls up her player interface and goes to her Friends tab. Sending me a friend request. She sees my confused look and chuckles. If you ever want to talk about it, reach out to me. I'm in the same situation as you. I'm off to a town called Phalia. It's on the same airship heading to Able but farther away. She's smart enough to put together we're heading to the same place since we're waiting in the same spot. I could use a friend right now. Chapter 432, Making Friends. The elven woman that's become my friend is named Eliza Bleeds, and she's on her T.A.W quest since she's recently become a player. The airship we're taking is supposed to show up in a few more minutes, and we've just been talking. I never would have figured that you're Saliandra Orvalo, the lover of Slayer Zirn. My popularity has risen too. People have found out that Saliandra Orvalo is with Slayer Zirn, and I don't know what to think about that. Yes, Slayer Zirn and I first met when he stayed at the inn I was working at. He offered to take me with him, and I took a leap of faith. It was hard getting over my fear that day, but I'm glad that I gave it a chance. My life has become too much better. Eliza leans back on the bench we're sitting at and lets out a content sigh with a smile on her face. You're a lucky woman, Sally. Sometimes, I wish I could find my Prince Charming in the most random place and time. It's like a love story. Boy finds girl. The boy asks the girl to come with him. They take off on a grand adventure. She's not wrong about that. One thing I'm going to find extra difficult is calling Sarah by his player name. Slayer Zirn. I've gotten so used to calling him Sarah that it's going to be a hard habit to break. If there is someone for me, Eliza. There is one for you. You don't have the same past as me, and it'll be easier to find someone you love. She's shared some of her stories with me. Eliza comes from a normal elven family in a remote farming town in the Elven Kingdom. She grew up as a normal girl. Just the little bit you've shared with me, Sally. I'll say Slayer Zirn has a lot of character. Most men wouldn't give you a chance due to what happened to you, and that's no fault of yours. She's right about that. Sarah is special, and I couldn't see another man doing that with me. Giving me a chance and see past all the bad things that have happened to me. Showing me what love and life is. It hurts to be away from him right now, but we all have things to handle. When I'm done with the T.A.W quests I still have to track down my father. The one I didn't know I had. That's going to be an interesting visit. That's if I can even find him, but I doubt it'll be simple. Nothing you think is. What about you, Eliza? Have you ever experienced love before? She takes a minute to gather an answer, and by how long she's taking, I can tell she's having a hard time finding an answer to that. Before she can give an answer, the airship shows up, and everyone waiting boards. We find a nice place on the deck with some sunbathing chairs, and we lay down. My stop is before hers, but that's tomorrow. That gives us time to talk and hang out. I'm wondering what able looks like. Love, that's something I wouldn't know. My parents loved me, and I love them. But I don't know what it means to love a man. That's all I need to hear. It's hard finding that one, and both men and women get discouraged from people who lie, cheat, and run away. Mind telling a story about one of your adventures with Slayer's Earn? Now that I know you've been with him for so long, I can't help wondering what you two might have done. That's fair, and I don't blame her curiosity. If our roles were reversed, I'd love to know what those potential stories are. Okay, I think one of the first things we did is a good starting point. Sarah and I have been through a lot, and we have a lot of stories. And I think there is enough time for most of them. Eliza has been a very compassionate person and a friend since I've met her. She's like a sister I never had. I look to my left for the 14th time and see again that Christian isn't here beside me. I look to my right, and Marcus isn't here either. I haven't gotten close to being alone, and this is going to be the hardest thing I've done since giving birth. Try and think about something else, Violet. Get your mind off them. If I think about them the entire time that I'm alone, I'll lose my freaking mind. So, thinking about my T.A.W quest is better. I'm heading to T.A.W to get the actual quest and figure out what I'm doing. I'm hoping and praying that it's an easy one, that way, I can be finished and meet up with someone once they're done with theirs. My thoughts drift to my youngest, and I worry about Marcus. While my youngest child is very powerful and can take on anyone, that doesn't stop me from worrying about anything that might happen to him. I hate the thought of him dying, even though he'll respawn. I hate it. Everyone is probably laser focused right now, me being the only one dwelling on things I shouldn't worry about. My family will be fine. It's me I have to worry about. This is a chance to figure out who I am outside of my husband and children. Cause I don't know who Violet Adamo is outside of the people I've centered my world around. It's never good to live and die for just your family. Without an individual purpose, you're a shell. That's something I heard Sarah say to Hayley once. Sarah knows far more than he should about life and about how hard it is. It's made me worry that he's hiding some very deep issues that he hasn't told anyone about. That's the pot calling the kettle black. I have a habit of doing that, but I'm quick to lash out. He holds it in and buries it, and that's not good. It could place terrible burdens on him. I land on the ground and stop jumping tree to tree, and burst forward on the ground. I've covered some ground, but it's going to take me about a day and a half to reach T.A.W, according to my player map and marker on my HUD. Hopefully, everyone else is making better time than me, but I doubt it. Hayley and Jasmine have the ones furthest away at the moment. Once Sarah starts his T.A.W quest, who knows where he'll have to go. I clear my head and focus on myself. Trying to get out of the habit of thinking about my family. Okay, Violet. What do you like to do when you have time to yourself? Nothing. Nada. Zilch. Zero. I'm not getting anything to this question, and it goes to show how I need this time by myself. I can't help being so freaking excited to be on my own for a change. No mom and dad constantly telling me what I can and can't do. I get to have my own adventure and enjoy making my own decisions. I'm never going to forget this trip for the rest of my life. But I can't get complacent. Sarah said since I hold a legendary class, I'll have a very complex and difficult T.A.W quest. My class is a magic one, and fire is my primary attack. My only attacks. People who know who I am, Call me Phoenix, like Mom and Dad. Or some of the friends that we made. Since that's the name of my class. I need to take after my brother. Think about this strategically. That's what I should do, cause it works. That's how you win. Chapter 433, Heading to the City of Ports. Traveling all day by flying would make you think you've covered a lot of ground, and traveling at the speed I am, you'd bet that guarantees it. But despite those assumptions, I'm only about halfway, and I'm ready to sit down and just take a break. The wind blowing in my face for so long isn't something I have tolerance for. It's not like I'm in a rush either. The ancient dungeon of Isexxs is my ultimate destination near ports, but I'm using ports as a point of reference, and once I get there, I'll ask around and find out more about the ancient dungeon of Isexxs. There are things about that I don't know, and who better to ask than the locals who have the most experience with it. The city of ports is outside the kingdom of Avalon, and while that isn't a big deal, it makes me wonder how far I'll have to travel to finish all my tier-up quests. I'm currently tier 1, which means I have tiers 2, 3, and 4 to catch up on, and that isn't something I should have done. I put it off for so long. Now I'm playing catch-up. This is what happens when you prioritize someone over yourself, and while it's okay to do that, you shouldn't do it as heavily as I did it. I'll never regret helping Sally with everything she needed to do, but I acted unwisely, putting all her needs before mine after getting my mana aura. I need to fucking land. This wind is giving me a headache. More, I'm giving myself a headache. The wind is annoying me so much I'm giving myself a headache. I softly land next to the river, and it calmly flows. The soothing sounds of the water flowing start to relax me. I wonder what's in store for me. The ancient dungeon of Isexxs sounds pretty tough despite my seeming invincibility, a quest tailored for my divine class with scale and strength with me. Meaning the battles ahead will have monsters and enemies that have billions in health and stats that rival my own. There is a good chance that I could die a few times here and there, and I don't like making up for lost time and levels. I decide to start a campfire for the night, and I lean against a turned-over log and enjoy the warmth coming from the fire. I open my player interface and head to my Friends tab. I open it, and I see Sally's name. It says she's awake and on an airship. I wonder if she would like a message from me. That's a stupid question, Sarah. Of course, she would love a message from you. It would show her that she's on your mind. I speak to myself as if I'm a fool, and I start composing the message. I see from the Friends tab that you're awake right now, and I just thought I'd let you know that I've spent most of my trip so far thinking about you and being annoyed by the wind. I don't know how much you need a message from me right now, but I hope this helps in some way. By the way, the campfire and soon-to-be set-up tent are lonely without you here. That should be good enough for now, and that is enough of that. I have no doubt she's going to send me a message right away. Might as well. I click send on the message, and it's off to Sally and is now sitting in her inbox. Hopefully, her notifications are on, cause if they're not, she won't know that I've messaged her. Now that many of the system's functions from before have been restored, it'll be a lot easier for players to keep in touch and communicate information. That reminds me, I know you can buy lore scrolls from the auction house, and now that it's back up and running, I can but some information about the ancient dungeon of Isexxs. I waste no time, and I open the auction house and use the search bar for anything regarding the ancient dungeon of Isexxs. Nothing comes up in the search for lore scrolls, which makes me suspect that a player hasn't been to or found anything about the ancient dungeon of Isexxs. Not anything they would like to share anyway. Before I can try searching for something else, I get a message back from Sally, and I leave what I'm doing. Growing up on Earth, something you never wanted to do was ignore or postpone answering a girl's messages. While this is the first time I've experienced it, that doesn't mean I should keep her waiting. That isn't something I want to do to Sally. You don't know how much it means to me to hear from you. I'll be honest. For the first couple of hours, I was bawling like a little girl who dropped her ice cream. But I made a new friend before getting on the airship. Her name is Eliza Bleed. And she's an elf like myself. She's taking a chance to explore the world as a player, and is now doing her tier-up quest in the same direction as me. She's been a really good friend so far, and it's going to suck splitting up from her too. I get off the airship before she does. I hope that the tent won't feel that lonely. My bed and body feel hollow without you laying here next to me. I miss being able to hold you, and I miss your smell. I know that's weird to say, but it's driving me crazy. It's nice that she's made another elven friend who is also a player. She has the trademark of most women in messaging. She's way better at it than I am. As much as I'd love to spend the whole night talking with her, I need some downtime to clear my thoughts. I'm betting she's expecting an immediate reply, and I send her one telling her that I love her and I'm going to bed. The final message that I get from Sarah tonight comes through, and my heart sinks. The message itself is sweet, but I want to talk to him and not stop. Relax, he needs rest, and so do you. I talk myself into not being so focused on it, and I look towards the ceiling. My thoughts drift to the others that are doing their tier-up quests. If there is anyone I'm worried about besides Sarah, it'd be Jasmine. The girl is strong, and she's gotten better about handling her own fears, but I can't help feeling that she's going to have a rough time here in the beginning. I'd love to be wrong about this, and I hope that I am. But I trust my gut, and it's saying that Jasmine is in for some personal trials. If there were another besides Jasmine, it would be Hayley. Taking on a raid all on your own isn't something I've ever heard of being done before. And she's supposed to be first? I can't imagine how frustrated she's going to get over time. Sarah said it's pretty much a sure thing that she'll die a couple of times trying to figure out the boss. It's a good thing she's a player, and she can come back to life having only lost a level and the stats you spend on that level. She's probably grinding for EXP to get some levels to cushion the deaths she gonna have. Chapter 434, Research on the Ancient Dungeon of Isexxs. I've been traveling since I got up at 5 a.m. this morning, and my marker shows that I'll be there in a few more minutes. I dip below the clouds, and I look towards the marker I've set, and I can see the city of ports just ahead. It's quite large, but it lacks any walls for security, which is quite strange in my opinion. Monsters could attack at any moment. Worldwide announcement: since NPCs and players are rapidly gaining strength, ordinary monsters that spawn around the world are becoming too weak to pose a challenge. From this point on, all monsters and evil creatures now have access to the system to grow in strength to keep up. All monsters have gained independent intellect. My body and momentum come to a halt as I listen to the worldwide announcement repeat. What the fuck does this mean for the future? In the past, this never happened. Along with NPCs able to become players and have access to the system, more and more changes are happening, and it's a precursor to something big coming. That's the best explanation I can think of. Monsters and evil creatures are gaining access to the system. Not only that, monsters will get smarter and pose a challenge. I'll assume the worst and say they're as smart as a human and are capable of incredible independent thought. I'm slowly gliding as I think about this, and since I'm getting close to ports, I should land and walk around like an actual person. Once I land, I toggle my wings off and place my hood over my head. There are times I'm fine walking around with my identity known, but there are things I need to know, and the complications of crowds and nobles are an obstacle that I don't want to deal with right now. Keeping my identity a secret while I'm here is my best option. The road towards ports is well traveled, and people are coming and going from the city easily. I can see guards patrolling and heavily armored individuals barking orders at people that aren't so armored. As I get closer and in the city, I hear what they're yelling about. The ancient dungeon of Isexxs is no joke. We need to be constantly vigilant. I stop in my tracks and listen. This is a valuable chance to learn something essential to my class and me. It's highly dangerous, and the monsters scale to the power of the people that enter it, making it a challenge to clear over and over. The ancient dungeon of Isexxs is a permanent dungeon. It doesn't go away upon completion. Now that's something that I didn't think would be here. Dungeons are sometimes one clear only and sometimes repeatable. It really depends, and now I know more about what I'm up against. Sir, what are we supposed to do if we're overwhelmed? I know all of us are players now, but I don't want to lose any levels trying to beat this dungeon. Turns out these people are NPCs turned players. Good for them. Many in the group I'm watching nod their heads and the man in heavy armor just sighs and shakes his head. We're lucky to even get a chance at this dungeon. If you want to enter it, you'll need permission from the local Church of Light branch. They're the only ones with keys. I was hoping to avoid all this, and I can't go in with these guys. The monsters in the dungeon scale in strength, and they'll all be massacred if I'm in there. Listen, everyone. I'm not going to force any of you to go. Now that we're players, we have a lot more leeway in how we do things, but this is a golden opportunity to gain levels and drops from the ancient dungeon of Isexxs. Being able to respawn does open a lot of doors for them. If I want to get inside the dungeon, I'll need a key from the Church of Light's local branch. But before that, I should hit the local library to find any information I can about the ancient dungeon of Isexxs. I'm betting there are a lot of things that happen in that dungeon only when I'm in there, and possible hints to what those are is something that I'd want to know. Before I turn tail and head for the library, I finish listening to the final thing the leader of this large group says. Fair warning, the boss at the end of the dungeon has a notorious reputation for being a pain in the ass and capable of killing entire dungeon teams. That requires skills that are able to perform incredible AoE damage. That's good to know. The library here in Ports is impressive given the size of the city. It's not small, but it wouldn't compete with some of the capital cities I've been to. My hood is still on, and I walk up to the front counter. The old librarian looks at me and raises his eyebrow. Do you have any books or scrolls about the ancient dungeon of Isexxs? He sighs and takes his glasses off. There are probably tons of people coming and going from here asking about the ancient dungeon of Isexxs. All the books and scrolls you'd want are already checked out or have been straight up buying them. You're in luck, though, 'cause I know more about it than any book does. So ask away. In many ways, this is better than reading from a book. The first thing I want to know is the dungeon's layout and how long it usually takes to complete it. What do you know about its layout and how long it takes to clear? Preferably alone, if you know. He looks at me like I'm crazy. Before you say anything, I'm going in by myself, so just leave it at that. He chuckles a little and straightens his back. Older generations of people know more about the places they live than anyone else. That's the best people to ask, which is what I've found myself doing. There are many pathways and traps in the ancient dungeon of Isexxs, but you can find the path that leads straight to the boss by sticking to the leftmost path. He's leaving out information about the layout. From the way he's talking, I can tell that there is more down the paths that don't lead to the boss. The time for a team depends on its strength, and doing it alone has never been done before. So unless you got some serious weapons and skills, you're not getting far your own. I have a path to follow, but I want to know more about what's down those other paths. My hood is obscuring most of my view, and from the way he looks at me from time to time, he's having trouble reading my intentions. What's down the paths you didn't mention? Have people explored those before? He becomes stiff, and he gains a look of pain. Something personal has happened based on the way he's reacting. He takes fiddles with his glasses sitting on the wooden countertop and takes a calming breath. No one knows. People that go down those paths never come back out. The players that come back after respawning don't remember what happened. It's been something of a mystery for a long time. This has been helpful, and I'll be checking down those unknown paths. From the way he's looking and sounding, he's lost someone to the unknown paths we're talking about. I won't pry any further. Chapter 435, The Location of the Ancient Dungeon of Isexxs. As soon as I open the doors to the library to leave, the man at the counter stops me. There is an old prophecy about the dungeon one day, an individual that mortals will consider a god would enter the dungeon but don't believe in those legends. Fair warning, it's dangerous in there. I turn and give the man a single nod. A prophecy about an individual many would consider a god would come and take the ancient dungeon of Isexxs for a spin. That's not a coincidence. I've known for a long time that there is a bigger picture that I'm a part of somehow, but I don't know how. Maybe I'll find answers inside the ancient dungeon of Isexxs. It's a possibility, but this is a tier-up quest. I doubt that it'll be anything more than getting to tier 2. Looking for players to challenge the ancient dungeon of Isexxs. Must be level 100 or higher. There are players calling out from the sides of streets and others up ahead in the market square. Everyone here is trying to get some rewards from the ancient dungeon of Isexxs. The old librarian I spoke to said there isn't much known about Isexxs or his role in creating the dungeon. Only that he was a prophet and came here to build the dungeon on the orders of the Almighty Father. His involvement with it ends there. Looking for 2 more players. Levels 115 required. I enter the market square, and there are dozens of booths. I'm betting the only one that can get through those extra paths is me. The witness and my skills with being more than strong enough to hold my own, but I shouldn't get complacent. The monsters inside will scale with me, and they'll have health and mana similar to mine. If you're looking for a porter, look no further. Seems like someone is trying to find work. There were a couple of times I actually played the porter role in my past life, but that was because it was the only way to see what a high-leveled and powerful dungeon was like. There isn't any need for porters. We all have inventories, you dumbass. Another player shouts back at the person advertising their services, and he's technically right. I ignore and tune out the rest of the people around me. The ancient dungeon of Isexxs is where I'll find my tier 2 upgrade, and nothing will stop me from getting it. The librarian told me where I could find it and how to get there. He said there will be a lot of foot traffic at the location that could be annoying. People coming and going from dungeons isn't uncommon. But I don't know what will happen to the dungeon after I'm done in there. Not like it matters in the end. By the time I'm done and out, I'll already be off towards my next tier-up quest. Wherever that may be. After this tier-up quest is done, I have 2 more to catch up on, and they'll be harder than this one. It's how this all works. There is indeed a bunch of players. All of them are in parties, and some are even attacking this place as a guild. Conveniently, you don't have to wait your turn. But from the looks of it, it hasn't been cleared yet. That motherfucking boss is a pain in the fucking nuts. A man yells out, and I turn my attention. It's a group of highly geared and high-leveled players. More players sigh but nod their heads in agreement. Does anyone have any idea how to clear this fucking dungeon, so I don't have to stay near this fucking cliffside? I don't bother listening anymore and continue making my way through groups of players and towards the dungeon's entrance. What surprises me is 2 guarded men and a man in a rich cloak. He sees me approaching and glances at my gear. Taking a mental note from the looks of it. As I'm about to enter the dungeon, 2 of the guards hold out their swords and stop me from entering. Generous player, you must know the city's tax to enter the ancient dungeon of Isexxs, right? Sounds like a typical scam artist reading off from a page. My eyes lock on the man, and I can see the greed in his eyes. To enter the dungeon, you'll need to pay a fee of 150 gold per entry. If you can't pay the amount, you'll not be allowed to enter. And don't think killing us will solve the problem. I'm a player now along with these guards. That doesn't mean that I can't kill them and enter the dungeon anyway. I'm a man of patience, but I'll not be tested by this money-grubbing parasite. Please pay the entry fee, player. It'll be unfortunate to add you to our list of troublesome players if I'm forced to inspect you. As soon as he says those words, I draw my blade. I'm moving so fast that everything is moving slow. Before the 2 guards can even flinch, I cut them into pieces. As their individual parts are falling to the ground, I take the head off the man asking such fees. Everything speeds back up as I sheath the witness, and their body parts fall to the ground in a disgusting mess before disappearing and leaving some items. They are indeed players now. Like I'm going to have 150 gold fleeced from me. As those words leave my mouth, everyone behind laughs. There are some claps and cheers. It's definitely fun to hear, given how annoyed these players must have felt. Come on, everyone. Let's get a free attempt now that fucker is gone. Many players start coming forward to give it another try now that it's temporarily free, and I step forward and enter alone. As I do, a single and separate dungeon instance is created. I've finally made it to my destination, and I've already said my goodbyes to Eliza Bleed. She was good company during the trip. I plan to stay in contact with her since she's in my friends tab. I hope that she has an easy time getting her tier-up quest completed. She should have an easy time given her class is rare in grade. It wouldn't be that hard. The city of Able is something to behold, and I've become a bit more excited at the prospect of my own adventure. Talking to Sarah through the messaging last night really helped get my mind out of the dumps, even though I hated to abrupt ending to our conversation. Carriages to City Hall. Get a private carriage to City Hall. Some people head towards the voice. I need to find a woman called Felia Evergreen to get the next step of my tier-up quest. The problem is, I don't know where to go to find her. There is always doing it the way that Sarah taught me. A handy way to get a hold of information is to ask the oldest people around. They know the most about people, and that's a tactic that Sarah and I have used before. I hope the rest are having an easy trip so far, and I hope that Sarah is making a lot of progress. He'll be the one that takes the longest to get everything done. Chapter 436, Challenging the Ancient Dungeon of Isexxs 1. The air inside is stale and cold, and the only way to continue is dimly lit by torches. Who knows what I'll run into? Could be anything. The stories that the librarian told have sufficed in warning me what I'm doing. My hand rests on the handle of the witness, and I slowly draw it, and I toggle my wings on at the same time. My greatest weapons are my wings, and that's because they're indestructible and negate all damage unless attacked with a legendary weapon or higher. Not only are they perfect defense, but they're also capable of devastating offense. Able to cut through most things unless they're legendary in grade. The hall is barely wide enough to contain my wings even when they're folded like this. If I were to stretch them out, holes and large carvings would start to appear in the walls as I walk. He said to stick to the left path if you wish to fight the dungeon boss and the monsters leading to him, but I'm going the other paths. I have a feeling that whatever I'm here for, it's hidden down one of them. The torches start to become less and less frequent, and it's starting to get hard to see. After a couple of minutes, I see an intersection of paths. As I get closer, I'm amused by several different types of monsters. I dodge and retaliate with normal attacks with the witness, but it's doing nothing. They're scaled to me. This is going to be a problem. The true challenge is starting. Greyback Sicker LVL.215. Blinded Sicker LVL.214. Diseased Sicker LVL.218. Using Inspect at the same time as I back away from the group of 3 has given me the basics of their names and levels. They're staying right on me, and the dust freezes as we move around from how fast we're moving. I activate Heave's Light and lay an assault down, dealing millions of damage with each attack, but they get smart and retreat themselves. This isn't a battle of attrition I can win, not with the cooldowns I have for my active skills. Using Kingslayer and Raging Machine will help me cut through billions of health, but their cooldowns are too long. Sometimes, it's better to run. I shout out as I jump past them and charge down the middle path, and cave in the path behind me using my wings. I can't help taking a sigh of relief, which is why I need my tier up levels. For fights where I'm against someone of equal level and stats. It'll help me overwhelm enemies that don't have the same tier as me and are of lower tier level. Those guys were tier 1, just like me. But they can't go above that. That's the saving grace about scaling dungeons. However, it doesn't mean that it'll always be this way. When I reach tier 3, the enemies will start to scale elsewhere in the world. And dungeons could end up being changed by the system like they already have. The bad thing is I can't go back and try other paths unless I die or clear this one. The path is completely dark, and I'm basically hoping I don't run into anything. I have my hands out in front of me, and I'm taking slow steps to make sure. I know that I look like a fool for not preparing for this, but sometimes you get excited and jump in unprepared. That's the story of a lot of men's lives. I can't help thinking about all the teen moms and dads I had at my school growing up. Those are good memories. Being who I am, there has to be something down these unexplored pathways. What would be the point of the Almighty Father instructing Isexxs to come here and construct this player? Another things I'm curious about are Isexxs. There is an enemy that I've never encountered before. The lore lover in me has many questions regarding them. You've finally arrived, Sarah. My player interface suddenly pops up without my command, and there is a message in front of me. I stop in my tracks and consider what's going on right now. There are only a select few things that I believe are capable of interfering with the player interface. That's the system and the gods of this world. I don't know who is currently contacting me, but this is a sign I'm heading the right way. You've been distracted in your quest for power. But I can't blame you. Elven women are hard to resist, and it's even rarer to have one love you. Whoever is speaking to me right now knows a lot about me. You've been watching me for a long time, haven't you? Nothing else appears in the messaging, and I get a bit irritated. Who are you? Are you the system that was running the Ancients' world, Angelus? Or are you some god contacting me? They know my real name. They unsurprisingly know about Sally. Do not worry. I'm not your enemy. As to my identity, you don't need to know any of that. For I'm to warn you. The fights ahead are perilous, and you'll need all the help you can get. I don't know what to feel about this. It seems like it's too good to be true. Scroll of Eternity has been added to your inventory. A scroll is added to my inventory, and all the messaging goes silent. I check the information of the Scroll of Eternity, and I'm shocked I need something this powerful to give me a chance to win. Scroll of Eternity, a scroll that, once used, will allow you to use all your active skills without cooldowns. Mana consumption for each active skill will be reduced by 50%. Warning: Scroll of Eternity only has one use, so use it wisely. All my active skills will no longer have a cooldown, and I'll be able to spam attacks and use Kingslayer and Raging Machine over and over. What the hell am I supposed to fight? My eyes pick up on a horizontal light ahead, and as I get closer, I make it out as a door. This must be the boss I'm to fight. As I approach the door, I place my hands on it and slowly open it. A massive arena fills my view, and there are empty stands, and the only thing occupying the arena is a single stone statue in the middle. My boots sink into the sand as I move into the room, and the door behind me shuts. I stand still as a gate on the other side opens, and a massive blue wolf steps out. Just by looking at it, I can feel its strength. I use Inspect in it, and I grit my teeth. Shadow of Mela LVL. Warning: this creature far exceeds your level. Warning: this creature is invincible. Warning: this creature has a high chance of killing you. All the warnings fill my screen as the blue wolf fully comes out of the gate. It locks eyes with me, and I can see the intelligence behind them. Whoever Mela is, this is supposed to be her shadow, meaning that Mela was a blue wolf at one point. I don't know, she's not as big as Fenrir, not closer. But she's still giant. My weapon is already drawn, and my wings are ready. So what's taking her so long to attack? Chapter 437, Challenging the Ancient Dungeon of Isexxs 2. Shadow of Mela's levels are so high, that they're question marks for me. It takes a massive gap in power to see this. She hasn't attacked yet, and neither have I. This is definitely a battle, but how am I supposed to beat a character that's invincible? She slowly starts to circle around the large arena, and I do the same. The statue in the center of the arena is keeping us apart. Why is there a statue here in the first place? It doesn't make sense to have it in the middle of the arena unless it's there for an obvious reason. Maybe instead of thinking further, I dart towards the statue, and before I can cut through it with the witness, Shadow of Mela stops me as she rams her head into my body, and I crash into one of the walls. That statue is important. Shadow of Mela wouldn't have defended it if there wasn't. We lock eyes again, but this time she's not moving. She's standing guard of the statue. That's the key to this fight, isn't it? As the words slowly leave my mouth, Shadow of Mela understands what I'm saying, snarls at me. If I'm to beat Shadow of Mela, I need to destroy that statue. The question is, how can I do that? Shadow of Mela is faster and stronger than me, but there is a way to do this. I understand now what the purpose of Scroll of Eternity has. Raging Machine allows me to turn damage dealt to me into health, and I lost around 250 million from that headbutt alone. I use Scroll of Eternity and activate Raging Machine. The second I enter this state, Shadow of Mela considers me a true threat and charges at me. She's too fast for me to do anything, so I tank the hit and use the opening for the statue. As I'm making my way towards it at speeds high enough to slow everything down, Shadow of Mela knocks me away from the statue before I can strike at it with the witness. Shadow of Mela's dedication to a statue has me asking lots of questions. But this isn't the time to think about it. She follows up on her attack and tries to bite into my shoulder, but I block her with my wings. Her teeth aren't capable of piercing my wings, but she's strong enough to pin me. Ugh! You're a real pain in the ass. I'm starting to get frustrated. She understands me, and I get a sort of dog smile from her, and it pisses me off even more. While I can't be hurt while Raging Machine is active, I'm stuck here. And it's going to end quickly. She's killing me if I don't do something. Anything. My hand clenches, and it fills with sand, and I get an idea. I threw sand in her eyes, and she lets go. I take this opportunity to get another shot at the statue, and as my blade cuts through it and it falls to the ground, Shadow of Mela lets out an extremely painful scream. Warning, Shadow of Mela has lost her invincibility. Warning, Shadow of Mela has lost her levels and stat boosts. Warning, Shadow of Mela is enraged. The messages quickly fill my screen, and she's already behind me. I do my best to block and stop any of the attacks, but Raging Machine stops, and I'm hit for 30 billion damage in a single move. But this gives me time to activate Raging Machine again. She attacks me, and the damage is turned into health, filling my health bad to full. She jumps away, and she's got a red glow coming off her. Her enraged state doesn't make her stupid, but this fight is possible now. She's no longer invincible, and her level isn't questions marks anymore. She's level 250, and she's far less dangerous now, but the fight isn't over yet. I activate the rest of my active skills and take off towards her. Landing hits against her is far harder than I wouldn't, though, cause she's dodging and moving in ways that I can't keep up, and she's a blue wolf that should move like that. Whatever race of wolf she is, I don't ever want to fight one again. I get a lucky hit with my left wing, and I get a total of 35 million damage. This isn't going to cut it. I need to get attacks in with the witness. It's the only way that I'm beating her, but I don't have any way to stop her from moving so fast. All my thinking is interrupted as I'm hit with a beam of blue light and thrown across the room, hitting another wall in the arena and being firmly buried in it. How the hell am I supposed to beat you? How do I slow you down? I talk to myself and think of ideas. But nothing works. Maybe another shot of sand in the eyes might work, but she'll be ready again. Wait, I have an idea. I open my wings and flap them hard, blowing strong winds all around the arena in her direction. Sand is kicked up, and she's instantly covered and blinded by it. She shakes her head to try and get it out of her eyes, but this is the opening that I needed. I dash towards her with all my active skills on, and I attack her over and over again, dealing hundreds of millions of damage in a single instance. Laying on more damage, she tries to get away with her eyes closed, but she crashes into a wall, and I chase after, driving the tip of my blade into her. All the dot effects of my blade are active on her. I pull it out, and she screams in an animalistic-like way, and I swing my blade edge at her leg and cut right through it. She screams bloody murder as she's lost her front leg, and she's losing health fast. I'm blown away from her as she screams, and energy from her body throws me back. My ears ring from the volume of her screams. Shadow of Mela has suffered critical injuries. Damage dealt after this point will be tripled. Shadow of Mela has activated Saving Grace. Shadow of Mela has regenerated her lost limb. The message hammers my HUD, which is a sign not to stop. Not giving her time to finish removing the sand from her eyes with her paws. I attack, and the witness is doing massive damage and adding higher layers to the dot on her from its effects. After my next 5 strikes, she slumps against the wall, blood dripping from her. Dying. Shadow of Mela has been defeated. You've against 15 player levels. I take a breath and fall on my ass. That was a stupid fight I would have lost if not for the sand. It hurts my pride, but it's the truth. Statue of Mela has dropped something. The message fills my view, and I slowly look towards it. There is a light of turquoise blue, indicating that a divine grade item has dropped. I slowly stand up and make my way towards it, and I'm lethargic from the high intensity battle. As I reach it, I inspect it, and I smile. Tier 2 power up for the son of Archangel Michael Divine Class. That's 1 tier up quest done, and 2 more to go. Hope the others are making progress. Chapter 438, Hayley's Struggles. I drive Heart's Needle through the heart of the final monster in a group of monsters that attacked me. The fallen kingdom of Rosalia has been far more challenging than I ever would have guessed. There have been multiple instances where I've nearly died from the sheer amount of monsters swarming me. Their speed matches mine. My body is numb from exhaustion, and my mana is nearly empty. Even with my legacy grade mana aura, I've used it all just getting this deep into the Rosalia. How am I supposed to take on the capital alone? The attack on the palace there against its boss is a pipe dream at the moment. I'm struggling with weaklings. I'm not even at the start of the raid. The capital city Rosalia is where the raid starts, and I'm about halfway there. At least I can take a break for now. All the monsters inside Isexxs attacked, and I've cleared this city. I cleared the one before this one too. It's like they have a hive mind or something. When one attacked, all of them around Isexxs swarmed me. It's good that I have Heart's Needle. If I didn't have it, I'd have already died in the last city. But monsters and fighters are getting stronger every time I get closer to Rosalia City. Sarah probably has even harder quests than I do at tiers 3 and 4, and I still have my third one to do after this. Everyone in our group is playing catch up. Marcus will have challenging quests, too, since his class is legendary. Isexxs is entirely dilapidated, and there are no places to stay for the night. Getting out of the city is better anyway. I planned on sleeping in the forests on the way to Rosalia anyway. I don't know if monsters respawn in the cities, but I'm not sticking around to find out. I shakingly get up and limp my way down the main road, heading for the exit towards Rosalia City. The dirt shifts beneath me as I drag my feet, and I find myself thinking back to what Sarah told me. He told me that I'd want to level up a few times before taking on raid on Rosalia City. I've done that, but given how hard I'm struggling at this point, I'll want even more levels to fall on in case I die a few times. Killing these monsters along the way is good. Maybe that's why they're here, but I doubt it. I'm betting there is deep lore about the kingdom of Rosalia and what happened to it. Sarah would know the lore. He knows everything, well, not everything, but a lot more than me. I wish you were here helping me, brother. There isn't anything we can't beat together, and I regret that I can't get help on this quest. It's no fault of mine, but it still sucks major ass that I have to do this alone. Mom should be nearing deader by now, and Dad should be halfway to Cardoni by now. Marcus won't take long getting to Helios, and Jasmine should have a straightforward shot to where she's going. Sarah and Sally are the ones that decided to fly, Sally taking the airships. I'm jealous of Sarah's ability to fly. It'd make things so much easier if I could just lift off the ground and get to where I need to go, but I need these damn levels. I reach the edge of the forest where the main road leads, and I continue walking forward. I need to take a break and heal. Even though I want to stop now, I can't. Not when I'm so close to Isexxs. Monsters could respawn and seek me out, killing me in my weak state. I'd rather not risk it and continue walking forward. It's getting darker as the minutes go by, and there isn't much light left to get through the tree to show the path. Just keep moving. Get to a point where you're safe. I have to fight my body from quitting on me, and each step sends throbs of pain through my legs. I haven't been this sore in my entire life, and this is the first time I've come close to defeat since the moment I got my legendary class battle mind. Ever since that worldwide announcement about monsters gaining intelligence and getting access to the system, things have gotten harder. Why everything has changed so drastically, I don't know. But it all started after Hilda killed Queen Isexxs, and that can't be a coincidence. No use in thinking about it. I'd not know without something giving obvious proof. I'm not intelligent in that way. Not many people could figure it out, and Sarah doesn't know either. That's a good sign not to worry about it. It's getting harder to walk, and my body is screaming. I'm now tier 2, and I have the next destination for my 3rd tier up quest. I need to head to the city of Leeks inside the Kingdom of Avalon, and once there, I need to speak to a woman named Felka Moore. She'll give me the quest to reach tier 3. I've made a lot of progress, but it'll be even harder this next time. It won't be as simple as cutting down a statue to weaken the boss. I'm betting I'll have a raid or some other extremely hard task like Hayley, since my class is rated higher than hers. It's likely that my quest will get progressively harder. Speaking of my friends and family, I should contact Sally. I'm betting she'd like to hear from me. I'm curious as to how much she's gotten done in Able. I open my Friends tab and start a message for Sally. Thought I'd check in and update you on the progress I've made. I've completed my tier up quest to reach tier 2. But my next stop is a city called Leeks within the Kingdom of Avalon. I hope that everything is going great on your end. Let me know if you need to know anything. I might have something that could help. You never know. As I finish rereading to spell check, I send the message and close my Friends tab. I lean into the chair in my room, and I'm looking out the window. The inn below my room is alive with activity, but my room is enchanted with noise cancellation. Hope the rest of you are doing well. I should contact some of the others soon too. Mom and Dad would probably like to hear from me. I wonder how Mom is handling the whole completely on your own thing. She's probably not liking it, but she needs it. She's been nothing but a mother for the past 20-some years, and she needs to know who she is outside her kids and husband. Dad needs the same thing, and that's good for him. I'm looking forward to seeing how they've changed after I meet them again. My HUD shows that I've gotten a new message, and I open it up. That's so good to hear. I'm starting my tier up quest tomorrow. I had to locate where I needed to go, and that took me a while. I'm starting to realize how long we'll truly be apart, and I hate it. While I'm okay for now, there will be days that I'll ache for your company and touch. She obviously needs to talk to me, so I can spend some time doing that for her. Chapter 439, Push Towards Capital City Rosalia. The warmth of my tent is making it hard to wake up. It's always difficult to get up when you're actually comfortable. I look at the time on my player HUD, and I cringe as I see the time. There is no reason to get up this early. I don't want to get up this early. I can't help throwing a little fit, but I promised myself that I'd start moving towards Rosalia before 6 a.m. I'm wishing that I could fly more and more. Imagine how easy it would be to get to places, but it's pretty much needed that I walk. I'm gaining levels for when I face the raid on capital city Rosalia. Time to stop whining about it. I shove the blankets off me and take a minute to clean all the gunk out of my eyes. I lean up and stretch my body. The road I'm taking is heading straight for the capital city, and using my speed. It shouldn't take me long to get to the next city from here. There should be one more city before I reach the capital from here. And I'm not looking forward to the long and drawn-out fights that I have ahead of me. My class and gear have been my saving grace. Why the tier-up quest scale with your current power instead of being the level you should have been makes this far more difficult and brings home the idea that doing it as soon as you can is smarter than anything else. I really got distracted by things there for a while, and now I'm paying the consequences for it. I don't regret helping my friends and family. But I should have taken some time to myself to catch up on the tier-up quests that I have. I exit the tent and quickly pack everything up and place it in my player inventory. I look down the road, and my HUD is showing the marker in the direction I'm facing. A lot of features have returned ever since Greshina, and all of them are incredibly useful. All the NPCs that have turned into players must be astounded by how much easier players had it than them. As I'm running full speed down the path, I get a message from Jasmine. I open it up as I'm running and start to read. From the sounds of it, things are going good on her end, and before I can write a reply, another message comes in from Mom. Hope you're doing okay, honey. I miss you, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you again. It's been hard doing all this on my own, and there are things that I wish we could talk about in person. Please get back to me soon. I'd love to hear how things are going for you. You have the hardest quest at the moment and are alone. It's great to hear from Mom, and I start to write back. I send her a message telling her how I'm doing and encouraging her to keep it up all on her own. She should probably reach out to Dad too. I send her another message telling her that it'd probably be a good idea to contact Dad. He's missing her for sure. And she takes my advice. I didn't expect to get hammered with so many messages so early in the morning, but it's not like that's a bad thing. I'd be annoyed if I was still asleep, but I'm already moving. The trees are passing in a blur, and I'm positive there is no player or NPCs that can keep up with my speed. It sucks the monster and enemies I'm facing scale with me. It's become extremely annoying to fight against such creatures, but that it's all EXP for my levels and skills in the end. I wonder how much progress Sarah has made so far. He'll be completing his tier-up quests faster than the rest of us because he can travel fast. His quests won't be easy, but he's the best player out of all of us. Not to mention how Sally is doing, and Marcus is probably having a blast all on his own now. Not having to be babied by Mom anymore. I feel like I'm the only one that's complaining about my quest. I can't help the words from leaving my mouth. Does that make me lazy? Pessimistic maybe? I don't know. All I do know is I'm not that big a fan of my tier-up quest. My head spins with a headache, and I try my hardest to open my eyes. My allergies are really acting up, and I don't want to get up. But last night has refilled my energy levels for my tier-up quest. Sarah and I spent a couple of hours talking to each other through the messaging, and just having that has helped clear my head. But not my allergies are clogging it up again. Sarah is probably awake by now, too, and I shouldn't fall behind on progress for my tier-up quest. There are still plenty he has to do, and I have another one after this one. But being able to talk to him and stay connected to him is helping me far more than I thought it would. Time to get up, lazy ass, I mumble to myself slowly and lift my throbbing head. I do my best to stop stumbling to the bathroom, and as I reach it, I turn on the faucet and start to clean my face. Getting all the crap out of my eyes. I'm awake and ready to go after some of that cold water on my face. I look towards the bathtub, and I don't see any reason to avoid getting a bit cleaner before leaving to get dirty. As a girl, I prefer to be clean and smell good as opposed to smelling bad. I turn on the hot water, and the magical water pours into the bathtub, and I hop right in. No need to take off my clothes since I sleep nude. It's a habit that I've picked up while with Sarah. Before, I always slept with my clothes on out of fear. Now I don't feel that fear, and I'm comfortable being naked while I sleep. The magical water soaks into my body, and I let out a long relaxed moan. It's not every day that I get a chance to soak in a bathtub, and it's not every day that I get a chance to be clean. I wish you were here with me, Sarah. You'd love this. I'm positive he'd love to share this with me. The next city I'm going through comes into view as I keep up the high speed. I do wonder what happened to the fallen kingdom of Rosalia. I can't help wondering what happened here to turn it into a home for powerful monsters in a raid. Sarah is as curious as I am. I know he is. Given his knowledge of the future, he probably knows a lot about this place. I close in on the entrance to the walled-off city, and I slow down. I don't want to alert any monsters of my presence. I'd prefer to take as many as I can out quietly, and that's a real challenge. Chapter 440, Capital City Rosalia, a raid. Getting through this last city without major battles worked out. I've leveled up a couple more times as well. I'm not completely exhausted, and there is still plenty of time to reach Capital City Rosalia. If I move at the fastest speed I can go, I should get there by 8:15 to 8:20 am. Live and learn, and I'm proud to say that I've done that. I have learned something getting to Rosalia. Sometimes it's better to take things slow and easy. To spend as much time as you need getting something done the easy way so you won't be forced to do something the hard. I was not going to fight every monster in that city, and I didn't have to. I didn't kill everything in the city. But I did kill enough to get a couple more levels. I'm already moving at top speed down the main road, and nothing is in front of me except for Capital City Rosalia. Sarah said that I'm going to die a few times trying to beat the boss alone, but there is a good chance that I'll die trying to get to the boss as well. Based on the strength of the enemies so far, that's a real possibility in the capital. Marcus and Sarah are probably having a hard time themselves, and I'm not the only one. I need to stop getting distracted. Think about what the rest of this quest entails. I don't know enough about the fallen kingdom Rosalia to entertain this train of thought, but I can ask Sarah since he'll know. I open my friends tab, and I click on his name. Do you mind telling me all you know about the fallen kingdom of Rosalia and what I'm to face in the capital city? All the information I can get would be greatly appreciated. While I'm talking to you, can you also give me more information you have on the enemies I'll be fighting in the raid? I'm walking in blind here, and since you have knowledge of the future, I don't have to do that. I hit send, and it heads straight for him, and I'm left waiting for a response as I keep on moving. It shouldn't take Sarah long to get back to me. He's already up and is likely traveling by air to reach wherever his next quest is. After a couple of minutes, I get a notification from the system saying I've got a message. I open it, and it's Sarah. The fallen kingdom of Rosalia was once a thriving metropolis, and an economic powerhouse compared to the rest of Gaia during its time. But by the time the fourth queen was born, things started to go downhill. Mainly due to that fourth queen. She was greedy and only cared for her own power. Many damn her to this day for her transgressions hundreds of years ago. She sold the souls of her people and herself for tremendous power to the sin of pride, Lucifer. Also known as Samael. She then sold the empty husks that were once people to the sin of wrath, Satan. Having a powerful army at her fingertips, but in time she lost her mind and control over her power and authority. Suffering the same way her subjects do. The enemies you'll be facing in Rosalia City are those subjects, and they're all going to rival you in every statistic. You'll have no advantage against them. They'll heavily outnumber you, and when one sees you, all of them will come running. You can avoid them by using the sewers, but doing so will make you face a hidden boss. It is faster to get to the palace this way, though. The boss herself, consumed Queen Rosalia, is another fight entirely. As the raid boss, you'll find yourself overpowered by her in every statistical value you can think of. She has a fatal flaw. She's incredibly dumb since she's lost her mind. When I said you'd die a few times, I wasn't lying, but once you learn all her fighting and attack patterns, it should be easy. I read the long and detailed messages, and I can understand why Sarah loves reading lore so much. Learning about the world we're in. While the story is tragic and horrid, it's a fascinating tale. His knowledge of the future has come in handy far more than I thought it could. I wonder what else he knows. I can't help being curious. He must have so many secrets in that head of his. Thanks for all the help, Sarah. I'll be sure to use this. Mind telling me where I can find this sewer and information on the hidden boss down there? I'd prefer not to fight through the whole city against monsters and creatures as strong as I am. I won't bug you for a while after this, so get back to me soon. I'm supposed to be there before 8:30 a.m. I send the message back to him, and now it's the waiting game again. If there is a way I can avoid all the fighting and monsters inside the city, I'll be taking it. While going through sewers isn't ideal, if it's somewhat easier, I'll take it any day of the week. I wonder if Sarah and Marcus have to challenge a raid at some point? If I have to, good chance, they have to. A notification goes off. The sewer entrance is on the western side of the city, and it's not hard to get to. A rundown sewage treatment plant is your way in. But I have to warn you. The hidden boss is no joke. There is a good chance you could die to that freak too. Remember, there is a good chance you'll be afflicted with powerful poisons and debuffs due to the environment of the sewer. For the hidden boss itself, you'll want to use your strongest attacks as soon as you engage. The longer the fight goes on, the stronger the boss will become. I don't remember its name at the moment, but you'll know when you see it. That's everything I have that can help you, Hayley. Good luck, and let me know how it goes. I'm rooting for you. Sarah is the most valuable resource in all of Gaia and among the players. This raid will be far harder than anything I've ever been against before. I'm a little bitter about the difficulty of all this. I don't want to know what I'm up against after this quest is over. I don't know where my next tier up quest will take me. All I can hope is it's not as difficult as this. Hayley is making a lot of progress, and I'm glad that she's reached out to me for help regarding her tier up quest. I've never done the raid on capital city Rosalia or done anything within the fallen kingdom of Rosalia. All I know about it are from forum posts that I've read in the past. It was all valuable information, but I didn't think it would come in handy. Who knows what Hayley has to take on after this tier up quest, and I have no clue what I'm up against for my third tier up quest. I don't know yet since I haven't reached leaks yet, and talked to whoever I need to talk to. Finding the person will be a bitch, but I know how to find people. It's one of the things that I'm good at.